Whose finals run was more impressive? Kobe Bryant, the stretch from about 2007 to 2010, or LeBron James in Miami in 2011 till 2014? Who had the more impressive run? Kobe Bryant post Shaq or LeBron James in Miami? Now, some people, of course, LeBron sexuals, they don't even have to think twice about it. They're going to easily say LeBron James. They're not objective at all. They don't even care about basketball. They don't study the nuance of basketball. They don't like the science of it. But if we're talking about who had the better run, which run was more impressive, you got to give the nod to Kobe by far. You got to look at that 2017 compared to what LeBron James had. When LeBron James went to the Miami Heat, he had Dwayne Wade, who's arguably one of the top 3 greatest shooting guards of all time. Of all time. A guy in Dwayne Wade who led his team to the NBA Finals along with Shaq and was the Finals MVP. He was the driving force behind why that team was so successful as it was. So here you are, not even 5 years later. So in 2006, he reached the NBA Finals and went in Dwayne Wade. The following year, LeBron James advances to the NBA Finals. So here you are pairing a former NBA champion / Finals MVP along with a guy who's considered, with air quotes, one of the greatest players of all time, who you are putting in a conversation with Michael Jordan, joining forces with a guy who's already a leader. Already a leader. The Bronzexuals are so delusional. They're always moving the goalposts and making these false equivalencies that don't even make sense. They'll try to say, oh, well, every era had a super team, just to justify what LeBron James does, to make it seem like what he did wasn't bad for the sport. So they'll say, oh, well, every era had super teams. Bro, make it make sense. When have you ever seen Michael Jordan play on a team where they had a former Finals MVP, someone who already was established as an elite player? You've never seen that. You never seen Michael Jordan playing alongside a Dwayne Wade. That's unheard of. Before Kevin Garnett got to the Boston Celtics, he never won a title. Like Dwayne Wade won a championship. So you're forming a super team with your equal. Paul Pierce never won a championship before Kevin Garnett showed up. Ray Allen never had a championship. Nobody on that Celtics team will ever be in the conversation with Michael Jordan. None of them. But here you have somebody like LeBron James, which is laughable, who's in the conversation as one of the top 5 greatest players of all time. Nobody on that Celtics team will ever be considered as one of the top 5 greatest players of all time. And then you got to think about the West. Look at what Kobe had to go through, the obstacles, the adversity, and what he had to battle through the West. Look at the West now. The West is stacked. LeBron getting to see that firsthand. If it wasn't for the bubble, LeBron James would be out of the playoffs every single year. If he played in the West his entire career, he wouldn't even made it out the West. See, it took for a bubble title for him to get to the NBA Finals. LeBron James played in Cleveland, had plenty of chances to, defeat those teams, the Orlando Magic. He's been to the finals. He's already had experience before. So he knows how to get to the finals. Dwight Howard never been to the finals before. And then you'll have people say, fans say, oh, well, records don't matter. Because LeBron James had a squad. They won 66 games. Oh, well, records don't matter. That don't mean anything. Well, if that's the case, then why does teams who are the 8th seed, 7th from 8th seed, why don't they make it to the NBA Finals? Why don't they get far? If records don't matter, then why don't they get far? Because obviously they do matter. It's proof of what your team was this entire season. But let's look at the team LeBron James had. In Miami, he had Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh. Chris Bosh had already led a team in the Toronto Raptors to the playoffs. They had playoff experience. So essentially putting those guys together, you know what that recipe is set for. Domination. That's why LeBron James said not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4. He already was predicted in his head. He was like, man, we're going to win as many championships as possible. Because this is a force to be reckoned with, putting us together. So LeBron James teamed up with those guys, and they went 2-4. He went 2-4 on the super team. On the super team with Dwayne Wade. Him joining Dwayne Wade would be the equivalent of Michael Jordan joining Magic Johnson. Kobe Bryant went 2-3 in his run from 2007 to 2010. And he did it without another NBA top 75 player of all time. Compare the two teams. Compare the team that Kobe Bryant had with the Los Angeles Lakers in comparison to the team that LeBron James had. Now, if you're asking the average basketball fan, let's take championships away. Let's just remove the championships that LeBron James won, and then you remove the championships that Kobe Bryant had. And you look at the two starting fives on paper. Just look at it. And you look at the two, and you be like, you ask a person who watched basketball, and just erase all the championships out your mind, and you ask them, you say, hey, look, which team do you think is better? If these two teams were to go head to head, who do you think would win? Just based off of talent alone. I guarantee you the average person would say the Miami Heat. Now, let's not forget the fact that LeBron James came up short and folded against the Dallas Mavericks. See, they didn't want Kobe to get better. They purposely vetoed that Chris Paul trade because they knew that Kobe Bryant stood in the way. He would have prevented LeBron James from winning another championship. See, Kobe would have been close to getting his 6th NBA title. Pressure bust pipes. And y'all already seen what Kobe Bryant did with LeBron one-on-one. See, they changed the argument and said, oh, well, LeBron James defeated Kobe in a team game. We talking about one-on-one. You seen what he did in the All-Star break? Oh, well, that's the All-Star break. But LeBron James does stuff in the All-Star game. Y'all marvel at it and be so impressed. But when Kobe locked him down, oh, it's just the All-Star game. Like, bruh, like, I'm telling you. But Kobe Bryant's run was far more impressive. He did it with less. That's what's so impressive about Kobe and Jordan. They did it with less. LeBron James has more, and he's come up short. Plenty of times. And more times than not, when he was able to win, it was due to the help of others. But they'll discredit everybody. They'll discredit Dwayne Wade, discredit Chris Bosh, discredit Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love. Now they're doing it to Anthony Davis. The man had Russell Westbrook and shipped them off. Had a super team and shipped them off. Russell Westbrook has won the playoffs with every team that he's played with, except for when he joined LeBron James. He's played with Paul George. He's played with Kevin Durant. He's played with Bradley Beal. He's playing with James Harden and went to the playoffs with all those guys, got with LeBron, and didn't smell the playoffs. Who's the problem? But as I said, you could never say anybody on that Lakers 2007 to 2010 team, you would have never thought, and you would have never imagined, had you set those teams, put those teams in front of each other and roll out a ball, most people would say the Miami Heat was going to win. Because they had the better roster, the better team. But Kobe Bryant is just a much better player. And that's what we've been trying to tell y'all for years. Kobe Bryant would have locked LeBron James. He would have made it personal to lock LeBron James down in the NBA Finals. Kobe would have said, don't nobody guard LeBron. Ron Artest, I think Ron Artest came the following season. He would have said, Ron Artest, don't guard LeBron. I got him. I got him. Move out my way. I got him. And locked him down all the way from the inbound. LeBron James would have probably scored. He would have made it physical. He would have probably scored like 16 points. He would have averaged like 15, 16 points or less. He wouldn't have wanted no smoke with Kobe, bruh. But Kobe's run was far more impressive. He did it without Shaq. Nobody on, you can't look at that team. And then LeBron James ended up getting Ray Allen the following season. Ray Allen, who is considered one of the greatest shooters of all time. And lastly, I would like to discuss the teams that Kobe Bryant and the Los Angeles Lakers had to go through in his run from 2007 to 2010 in comparison to LeBron James and the team that he had to go through in order to get to the NBA Finals and win his 2 championships. So from 2008 to 2009, they had to battle against the Utah Jazz. This Utah Jazz team wasn't no slouch team, right? They went 48-34. This is the team with Darren Williams, who averaged a career 16 points a game. Paul Millsap, Kyle Korver, Carlos Boozer. That's what Kobe had to battle through in the first round. The Houston Rockets in a 7-game series versus the Houston Rockets with Tracy McGrady and Yao Ming. Tracy McGrady, Yao Ming, Shane Battier. Remember, Shane Battier went and joined LeBron James with the Miami Heat. Kyle Lowry, Yao Ming, Dikembe Mutombo, Metta World Peace. He had Ron Artest, Aaron Brooks, Luis Scala. And not to mention, in the Western Conference Finals, he had to go up against Carmelo Anthony, Chris Anderson, who went and joined LeBron James again, by the way, with the Miami Heat, Chucky Atkins, Chauncey Billups, Nene, Juwan Howard, who also went and joined that Miami Heat team, Allen Iverson, Kenyon Martin, Dante Jones, J.R. Smith, who's another all-star. Come on, bro, are we serious? Look at what he had to battle through in order to get to the NBA Finals, let alone get to the NBA Finals. And then y'all praise the Orlando Magic and say that, oh, well, LeBron James didn't have a team in order to defeat that Orlando Magic team. Yet when Kobe faced him, y'all discredit it and say, oh, well, Kobe had a team. LeBron James had a team. It's just he didn't get the best out of his players. He's not a great leader. And then the following season, when they faced the Boston Celtics again, he had to go up against the OKC Thunder in the first round. The first round with Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, James Harden. Now remind you, a team that went 50-32 in the first round. This is the first round. We talking about a team with Kevin Durant, Jeff Green, James Harden, Serge Ibaka, Sean Livingston, Russell Westbrook. This is all in the first round, bro. The second round, the Utah Jazz again. The Phoenix Suns. Come on, bro. Like, are we serious? Are we being serious here? Kobe's path to the finals and his run with that 2007 to 2010 team was far more impressive. This is proof. And then let's look at what LeBron James had to go through. In 2011 and 2012, and disclaimer that this was a short season. This was a lockout season. He had to go up against the New York Knicks, who were a great team, by the way. They were a good team. I will not discredit that. But in comparison to what they had, there's a reason why they won 4-1. And that New York Knicks team is not even close or near to what that OKC team was that Kobe and them had to go through. The Indiana Pacers with Paul George and Roy Hibbert. The Boston Celtics. And then the following season, in 2012 to 2013, he went up against the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, we're not talking about the Milwaukee Bucks who got Giannis right now. The Giannis who's developing to a great superstar player. We're not talking about that Giannis who's a 2-time MVP and a finals MVP who won an NBA championship. We ain't talking about that Giannis. We ain't talking about that team with Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday and those guys. The Milwaukee Bucks. I think they had Michael Redd at the time, if I'm not mistaken. I don't even know who else they had on that team. The Chicago Bulls. Now, the Chicago Bulls were a really good team. Derrick Rose, who was an MVP, regular season MVP, a really good team. Jimmy Butler, that was a really good team. But in comparison to what LeBron James had, you talking about the Miami Heat in their primes. Chris Bosh, who was viewed at the time as one of the top 5 best power forwards in the league. Dwayne Wade considered one of the greatest shooting guards of all time. LeBron James, who y'all put in the conversation with Michael Jordan. And then the Indiana Pacers. And all they had was Roy Hibbert, Paul George, and Lance Stevenson. And they won 7 games with them. Come on, bruh. He had to battle through that. The competition weren't nearly as fierce as what Kobe Bryant had to deal with.